What's going on, everyone? This is Vince with vshred.com, and in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about 8 of the best hamstring and glute exercises that you can do the next time that you go to hit legs at the gym.
I'ma keep on going up till the lights go down.
All right, like I said, in today's video, we're gonna be going over a couple different hamstring and glute exercises, and all 8 of these exercises are going to hit both your hamstrings and your glutes a little bit, because yes, you should be hitting hamstrings and glutes even though you can't see them in the mirror. It's just good for overall muscle development, for hormones, and also for imbalances and injury prevention. So we're gonna be using a mix of free weights, body weight, and cables. So no matter if you're working out at the gym or you're on the road and you only have a little hotel gym to work with, or you're just working out at home and you want to get a quick body weight workout in. We're not going to do a ton of body weight today, but we are going to be throwing in 1 or 2, so watch out for those. But getting into the workouts, the first one that we're going to be starting with is a Romanian deadlift, also known as a stiff leg deadlift. So with a stiff leg deadlift, you can really do this exercise with dumbbells, which is what I'm gonna be doing them with. You can do them with a barbell, you can do them even with a cable if you set it up correctly. With this exercise, I'm gonna run through it real quickly. Basically, it's a stiff leg deadlift, but you don't want to completely lock out your knees. So you wanna have, it's not this, it's a soft bend, and then you're going to hinge at the hips. You're gonna throw your butt back, feel a nice stretch in your hamstring, and then once you get down to about the middle, to where your hands are just past your knees, almost the middle of your shin, you're going to squeeze through your glutes and your hamstrings and drive your hips forward, squeeze at the top, and then drive your hips back. So it'll look like this in real time. So your feet also are pretty close together. You don't want them touching, but I usually like to put about 6 inches in between my feet. So they're pretty close together, soft bend in the knees. Pick up this weight, get into your starting position, chest out, shoulders rolled back, and make sure that you're not arching your back, you're not rounding your back. Keep it nice and neutral, driving your butt back, hinge at the hips, go down so that weight is just past your knees, almost at the middle of your shins, and squeeze up with your glutes. Back down, nice and controlled, feel that stretch, and squeeze up. Feel that stretch, squeeze up. So this is a great exercise that you can go a little bit lighter, you can go for more reps, or you can also go a little bit heavier with this. But if you are gonna go heavier, just make sure that you're being really careful not to put too much stress on your low back. Keep your pelvis neutral so you're not arching and you're not going forward. So keep that neutral, control with your form. That's exercise number 1. Now, exercise number 2, this is going to be a reverse hamstring curl. So this is what I was talking about when I said body weight. This is not an easy exercise, and one thing that I definitely recommend, I actually just hit glutes and hamstrings yesterday, so I'm a little sore, but I recommend getting some sort of bar that you can plant into the ground and then use as your support as you lower yourself down, and you'll see why in a second. So getting into this exercise, I'm gonna take my feet, I'm gonna put them back under this pad, and you don't have to do this on a lat pull down, especially if your gym is busy. I would try to find a place that you can get your feet under some sort of bar and just do this on the ground. But if you can't and you have to do it here, so be it. So get your feet under this pad. You want it just resting basically on your Achilles or the bottom of your calves. And then you're basically just going to lower yourself as slowly and as far as you can without having to use this bar. So that's about as far as I can go. Now I'm gonna use this to come back up. Lower down, slow, and as far as I can, use this bar and come back up. So it's all about controlled form, controlled reps, using as much of your own muscle as you can, and then using this bar to get back up. And if you can go all the way down and all the way back up, I've definitely seen videos of people who can do it a bunch. More power to you. This is a great exercise. This is a killer for your hamstrings. But if you have to use your bar, there's no shame in that at all, because it is a tough exercise. So like I said, that's a body weight exercise. Generally, you're just doing this until failure. I do not expect anyone to be able to get 15 reps of this. So you're probably looking at 3 or 4 sets with as many reps as you can. And this is probably going to be at the end of the exercise, at the end of the workout, as a finisher to completely fatigue your hamstrings. But yes, this is more for your hamstrings than it is for your glutes. Now into exercise number 3. And so this exercise is going to be a hip thrust, and so this could also be called a glute bridge. You can do this obviously with a barbell. You can do this with those machines that are meant for hip thrusts, or you can just get a bench, you can grab a dumbbell, and you can do it just like this. I think this is probably the easiest setup personally. Basically, you get on this bench until your upper back is resting on the edge of the bench. You take this dumbbell, put it on your hips, and then from there, all you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure that your chin stays tucked, your pelvis stays neutral, so you're not arching your back. Make sure you do not arch your back, and you're also not hunching. And so you keep it neutral, drop this weight down as far as you can, and squeeze up. And so this exercise is gonna be great for the glutes more than the hamstring, and you just really wanna go controlled. But what is nice about this exercise is you can load up the weight if you want to. And so if you're doing this at the beginning of your workout, obviously glutes are the largest muscle group in the body. If you didn't know that, they are. And so it's super important to hit glutes. And this is an exercise that you can absolutely 100% load up on weight and try to push more and more consistently as the weeks go by. And that's gonna help your hormones. It's gonna help overall muscle development. It's gonna help with just getting stronger in general. And it's gonna help with injury prevention and possibly help with low back pain. If you have low back pain, building your glutes is one of the best ways to help with low back pain. Now, exercise number 4, we're gonna be stepping over here to the leg curl machine. So this is a very common one. I won't spend too much time on this. Basically, this is just a great exercise for destroying your hamstring. For pretty much every glute and hamstring day that I have at the gym, I'm probably throwing in hamstring curls because it is a staple and every gym has one of these machines. And so when you're getting into this, one thing that I've always noticed is that I always feel it more and I get better muscle development when I'm using a weight that I can actually control. So rather than getting in this machine and throwing the weight back and arching my back as I do it and lifting my butt up in the air, if I can just control it from start to finish, so from point A all the way up to the peak contraction, I'm always gonna feel it more and I'm always gonna get better results from it. So what I mean by that is rather than taking this weight and throwing it like that, I'm not getting much here. I'm creating a bunch of momentum. Rather, I would lower it down slowly, squeeze this up, and lower it back down slowly again. If I can get 12 clean reps like this with lighter weight, I will choose that over 8 reps of super heavy weight with terrible form. All right, so real quickly before we get into the next exercise, I just wanna say all these are great exercises, okay? But I don't want you to go to the gym and do every single one of these to make up your entire leg day. Pick probably 1 or 2 each, so 2 for hamstrings, 2 for glutes. Throw those into your leg day, do 3 or 4 sets. Just find what works best for you, whatever you feel the most. Try these exercises out and pick those. It's the same thing when it comes to getting in shape. There's not one thing that's gonna work for everybody. And that's why most programs and most fitness advice doesn't work, because it all comes down to wherever you are right now, what shape you're currently in, because that's gonna be different than a lot of people, and what your specific goals are. Because what shape you're currently in will help determine what your body type is and the approach you should take to getting in shape. This is why we've created a free body type quiz to help you understand what your body type is and what you should do based on what your body type is. And so that's in the gym and in the kitchen, and the fastest ways to help you get in shape. So if you want to take that quiz, I'll throw a link to it down in the description below this video. You can check that out. But let's get into the next exercise. Now, exercise number 5 is going to be a single leg glute thrust. So as you can see, I'm getting down on the ground, and this is another great body weight exercise. So if you're working out from home, basically just get something that's about bench height. So if it's a chair, if it's a bench, if it's a couch, all fine. You're just getting up close to this bench. You're gonna lay back on your back, and then from here, I like to point my feet up at the sky, so I'm not pointing them down. I like to point them up at the sky. From there, I'm gonna lift one leg up, and then I'm going to take my other leg and I'm going to glute bridge up as far as I can, lower it back down. Notice I'm not resting, so my butt's not on the ground. I'm still working my hamstring and my glutes right now. Then I'm gonna extend back up and lower back down. Extend back up and lower back down. And then after I do however many reps I'm going for, generally 10, 12, maybe 15, switch to the other leg, bridge up, and back down. Glute bridge up and back down. And just a couple reps of that right there, and I felt it really well. So this is a great exercise that I recommend anybody can do. If you're doing a body weight workout, this is a great one to throw in. And even if you're doing one at the gym where you're using weights, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend doing this at the beginning of the workout if you're trying to use some weighted exercises, some added resistance. But towards the end of the workout, where you're already pretty fatigued and you're looking for some sort of finisher so that you can completely fatigue the muscle, this is a great one to go to. This one is going to be a cable kickback. And so you can do this with like a little thing that you put around your ankle. You can also do this with just a handle, and you just put your toe inside that handle and kick it back. But basically, I'm gonna put this around my ankle real quickly. Okay, so now that I have the little ankle wrap on, again, you don't have to use these, you can just use a handle if you want. But if you do have these, they're super handy. I'm just gonna take this front loop, I'm gonna put it into that carabiner, and then from there, I'm gonna get into a nice strong position. You wanna make sure that you're not too close and you're also not too far. And so how you figure that out is by just lifting your leg up, and you should be able to go at about a 90-degree angle. And then from there, push straight back and not be overextended or not feel like you're being pulled awkwardly by the pulley machine. So this will be my nice strong position. I almost get my back completely flat. That way I can make sure that I'm getting that peak contraction of my glute. From here, I'm gonna get into my starting position, and then I'm going to throw this back. And one thing that you really wanna be careful not to do is do a big arch like this. I see a lot of people, generally women, who are arching super hard and thinking that that's helping them. If you can keep your back flat and you can throw your leg back, that's gonna get you a better contraction than that ever will. And if you're arching your back, you're gonna be probably dealing with low back soreness tomorrow or the following couple of days. So make sure that you're keeping your back nice and flat, and you're squeezing at the top, lowering it back down, and kicking right back into the next one. And then after you do however many reps you're going for, 8, 10, 12, 15, you'll rack it, you'll take it off your leg, put it on the other leg, and do the same thing with the other side. A different variation of the RDL that we already covered, it's gonna be a single leg RDL. And so with this one, you're generally gonna drop weight a little bit because you are going one leg at a time versus your double leg RDL, your regular RDL. So here, what you're gonna do is basically get into a position where you're almost balancing on one foot, but I just basically take my other foot and I just have my toe on the ground for balance. I see people who do it like this. I don't necessarily like this because now you're adding balance to the equation, which is taking away from the strength gains that you could be getting. So I just have my toe on the ground. From there, again, soft bend in the knee. You're driving your hips back. You're going down, grabbing this weight, starting position, going down slowly, middle of your shin, and squeezing up through your glute. So the other side, it would look like this. Going down, squeezing up through your glute. Going down, throwing those hips back, squeezing up through your glute. So great exercise for destroying your hamstrings. And then number 8, we're gonna finish this off with another cable exercise. And this is gonna be one that is amazing for glutes with a little bit of hamstrings. This is going to be a cable pull through. So basically, you're gonna have the cable down at the bottom of the pulley. You're gonna have a rope, or, I mean, generally you have a rope with this. You can do 2 handles if you want, but you're gonna be grabbing this weight. You're gonna be stepping out away from it. And then from here, what you're gonna be doing is essentially squatting down and then taking your glutes and just squeezing and pulling through. So just this little movement right here is one of the best glute movements that you can possibly do for your body. Really trying to throw that butt back, and then rather than just kind of standing up, you want to focus on squeezing your glutes and squeezing through them at the top. And so especially that peak contraction to the top, that's a big point of emphasis whenever you're hitting glutes. So rather than just going like this, you want to go squeeze, squeeze. And the more that you can get that peak contraction squeeze at the top, the more you're gonna feel it in the glutes and the better muscle development you're actually going to see. Those are 8 of the best hamstring and glute exercises that you can try out the next time you go to the gym, because like I said, just because you don't see them when you look in the mirror doesn't mean you should not be hitting them. It's amazing for overall muscle development, getting stronger, helping out with muscle imbalances, helping out with injury prevention. So make sure that you're throwing in glute and hamstring exercises whenever you're hitting legs. But that's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you're clicking that thumbs up button below. If you have any video recommendations, throw them in the comment section. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you're smashing that subscribe button, because you're missing out on a ton of free content that we post daily. And turn on those notifications, so hit that little notification bell. That way you actually get notified when we post a new video. But that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.